So you've done a large majority of the work now in creating this document package for a gear module or a gearbox or a gear assembly. And so I'm going to show you what a standard product book looks like. It usually has something at the top that says product book. Then there would be a product name. This would be like gearbox. And the product line is what it's usually used on. So this might be gear pumps or something like that. And then there'd be a last revision date. So for you, I'd like you to put the product name down as gearbox assembly. And the product line is going to be environmental pump. Gearbox assembly and environmental pump. And you can put whatever today's date is for the last revision date. And this is what normally, at a minimum, goes into what's called a product book. And a product book is where everybody goes to find out about the product and the product line. So there are things like assembly drawings and component drawings. Those, of course, the machinists have to get a hold of so they can make the parts. And there's parts lists and bills of materials. Of course, what they call the production manager or production supervisor would be getting a hold of those so they can make sure that the purchasing of all the materials has been done and that somebody writes what's called a work order that lets the people on the shop floor know what to do. Are they going to make one of them, 5 of them, 10, 1,000? What order is the most important that they do it in? And then it even includes sort of often step-by-step instructions on what to do. And so we're going to go through making these 3 items right here. Parts list, purchasing data, and work order data. And you actually have the parts list already, but you need the bill of materials for the item that you're making. Remember, the parts list has all the parts that have anything to do with this gearbox assembly, all the different variations of them. And this bill of materials is going to be for one particular version of it. What we're not going to review is inspection data. Obviously, that's very important, though, but we're not going to deal with it. Product approvals. Where are you allowed to use this? Often, products are managed or approved by some sort of an agency like Underwriters Laboratory or Factory Mutual or some other one. Toyo is another one. So there's all sorts of different approvals that you can get in different industries. And so if there are product approvals that are required, then those would be all packaged up neatly in a spot where you can find them. And of course, the all-important marketing information. Now, often, the person who's making marketing information will need to go back into assembly drawings, component drawings, and things like that to make it. But there's also in the marketing information specifications. And so it's likely that the designer is going to collaborate with the person who's doing the marketing information. So you see that there's a cover page for it. And then each section gets its own little table of contents, and your job is going to be to find the assembly drawings that you've done and list them and put them in here. And then you're going to make this into a PDF and insert those right behind this on the PDF. I'll show you how to do that in a little while. So under assembly drawings, all of the assembly drawings that might be part of this product name, gearbox assembly, would show up here. Okay, same with your component drawings. You'd have gear 1, gear 2, gear 1 out of another material, gear 2 out of another material. All of those things would happen right here, and you would list all of those individual drawings. You're definitely going to have 2 gears and a housing and a shaft at a minimum. Your parts list will also go in here. That's just your general full parts list. Now, all of these things are going to be PDFs, right? You'll print this document as a PDF when you're done, and you'll combine it with PDFs from your own work after you've filled all this out. So it'll become one big document. And when you're working with PDFs, document size doesn't really matter, so you can just pop them right in there. So you'll put your parts list in, and then you'll do something called the bill of materials. And I'll show you what these are in a little bit. And then there's purchasing data. Same thing. What would you purchase? I think you're going to have to purchase some gears, and I think you would have to purchase some hexagonal stock, and you would probably purchase some steel. Okay, but we're just going to make you do one of those. And then there's work order data. That's all we're including in ours right now. Okay, so when you've got it all filled in, when it's all filled in, you'll do a file, download as PDF. And that gives you your sort of table of contents and cover sheets for each section. That's what this is. It's a table of contents, but it's also broken up by section. So that's your first step, is to get ready and to understand what all of those things are. And now I'll start talking to you about the bill of materials, and then I'll talk to you about purchasing, and then I'll talk to you about work order.